to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Check this out. Check it out.
We begin with resolution to
This
an Amber
video
Alert
is made
that you
for
may have gotten on
information
your phone this
purposes
morning.
only.
An 8-year-old girl
Parental
has been
discretion
found
advised.
safe, but her father is in custody, and police are investigating a death in this case. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer is following the story and joins us live now from Clearwater. So, what can you tell us? What do we know right now, Aaron?
Well, Linda, this is where that death investigation is going on in this apartment complex over here. Obviously, it's still a very active investigation. Still a lot of clues that detectives are still trying to work out. But it's been a really heartbreaking day
Giving
here
you a scoop
because
of
this
what's
is where,
going on in the
as I
streets.
said, that death
Uncut
occurred.
tea.
Neighbors
Check it out.
can't believe this happened.
Straight
Most
from
of all,
inside the
however,
raw
they are
soup bowl of what's
relieved
happening
that
now.
this little girl was found safe. This started at about 7:15 this morning when Largo police issued that Amber Alert. That led to a frantic search for 8-year-old Alessia Muhaj, who was with her father, Renato Muhaj. As that search went on, Largo police were also investigating the death of a woman here at Bayside Court Apartments. Officers say the two situations are connected. They just have not said how at this point. Neighbors here say the little girl lived at the apartment where the death occurred. Meanwhile, about 2 hours or so after the Amber Alert was issued, police found Alessia still with Renato. He was arrested, while Alessia was taken to other family members, and that came as a relief to neighbors.
I'm really grateful and thankful that the baby's okay. I hate that it's anybody that, someone lost their life. But I just can't believe that this happened.
Again, police say Alessia has been reunited with other family members. Police have been, have not confirmed at this point the relationship between her and Renato, but neighbors say he is her father. Police also aren't identifying the name of the woman who was killed or her relationship to that little girl. Again, there's still a lot here to work out, Linda. We're going to have a lot more in our later newscasts.
This is Street Knowledge.
I can tell, though, a very sad day for that community, Aaron. Thank you.
A father accused of kidnapping his 4-year-old daughter, then
This
starving
video
her to
is
death
made for
2 weeks
information
before
purposes
Christmas, is now
only.
facing a
Parental
malice
discretion
murder charge.
advised.
Rodney McWay appeared in court today, where a judge ordered him held without bond.
Records show state social services had received multiple reports of child abuse and neglect involving this family, dating back years. For weeks, the Fox 5 I-team has asked, how did this happen? I-team reporter Johnny Edwards obtained the DFACS case file and has some answers. Johnny.
That's right, Courtney. To say that little Treasure McWay slipped through the cracks of Child Protective Services would be a massive understatement. State records show her father kept authorities at bay simply by not answering his door. Now we've learned 2 agencies, one state and one local, are investigating their handling of this case.
Giving you a scoop of what's going on in the streets. Uncut tea. Check it out.
Intentionally neglected.
Straight from inside the raw soup bowl of what's happening now.
A single father accused of kidnapping, cruelty to children, and starving his own daughter to death faced the judge today. After hearing from an Atlanta homicide detective, the judge adding a charge of malice murder to the 14 felony charges that Rodney McWay already faces in the death of 4-year-old Treasure McWay and the alleged abuse of his other children.
Information brings light
According
and
to the
awareness
detective,
to news stories that may not be
31-year-old
seen.
McWay is accused of withholding food, withholding water from Treasure, until in her final days, she couldn't stand up or sit up alone.
She was extremely emaciated, just pure bone.
In a far different picture than the one seen here on his Facebook page, but the Fox 5 I-team has learned Atlanta police now doing an internal investigation into their own conduct in the case. That's because in the months leading up to Treasure McWay's death, caseworkers from the Division of Family and Children's Services asked police for help at least 3 times after the father allegedly snatched Treasure and her 2 brothers from their mother in Maryland.
It appears to me that a bunch of different systems here failed. And I will say this is one of the more troubling situations I've reviewed.
Atlanta 911.
Fulton County warrants show that at her death, Treasure weighed just 24 pounds, described as extremely malnourished and dehydrated.
Well, I'm trying to get an ambulance over here for a baby that's not breathing.
It all happened beyond this front door. According to the charges, a house of horrors for Treasure and her brothers, ages 3 and 5. The children locked in their rooms. Cameras aimed at their beds. The only food inside, some expired eggs and expired milk. The children watching as their father allegedly beat their mother and their 8-year-old half-sister. While all of these horrific things were happening here, our investigation found that several times these children crossed paths with adults who tried to do the right thing. They called authorities whose job it is to protect children who are being abused. But the steps authorities took wouldn't be enough to protect the children.
She said, I didn't see him feed him anything.
Wanda Polnitz met Rodney through a friend of her daughter. At first, she saw a single father struggling to raise 3 small children. She had a friend who agreed to be the children's live-in nanny. But that friend only lasted 3 nights there.
I called, Children and Family Services and told them I was very concerned. The first thing that came to mind is when those children are gone, he's going to kill those children. He wasn't going to kill them physically. He was going to not feed them like he was doing. He was going to let them starve.
Wanda's call brought DFACS and police to the house in June. According to records, DFACS noted that children seemed hungry, as well as mold on the walls, the stench of urine, and exposed wiring, saying the home is deplorable and the children cry until they are too weak to continue. The father wasn't arrested. DFACS placed the children with their mother, who had already fled to Maryland. Within a few weeks, the father went to Maryland and took the children back. DFACS knew all about it. Records show that for weeks, they tried calling Rodney and knocking on his door, with no answer. The detective testified DFACS asked Atlanta police to check on the children in mid-July.
What happens after someone calls in for a wellness check? What is like the protocol?
An officer would go out to check on the children.
Did an officer go out?
No.
There was another call right before Halloween.
And that's a 911, non-emergency.
Yeah, this is Fulton County DFACS. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Need an officer to meet me at a home. So we know he's there.
All right, I'm sending an officer to the location.
But 911 records show it took police more than an hour and a half to arrive. By then, DFACS had left, and police got no answer either. No representative of Atlanta police would speak to the Fox 5 I-team about the case, instead issuing a statement. Officers were dispatched to the home, but it does not appear officers had contact with Mr. McWay or the children during these calls. In an effort to ensure these calls were handled properly, the Atlanta Police Department's Office of Professional Standards has initiated an investigation into these calls.
What's happening now?
Attorney Tom Rawlings, who is a former juvenile court judge and former director of DFACS, reviewed the case files. He questioned why DFACS didn't seek an order of access from a juvenile court judge, which he described as sort of like a search warrant for a child.
Why didn't both the police and the agency and others, probation officer, make a stronger effort to ensure that Mr. McWay especially allowed someone to come in the house, especially after June of 2023, and check on these children? Nobody really pushed the issue, and as a result, this child died.
Now, DFACS leaders would not go on camera for this story, saying in a statement that they are also investigating what happened. DFACS said that, quote, "Our thoughts are with those who loved Treasure." The Georgia Office of the Child Advocate is also investigating. We were unable to reach the children's mother, and Rodney McWay's family had no comment. Russ, Courtney?
It is just so unspeakably sad. Obviously, the system failed these children, and Treasure in particular. Do we have any idea why the father wasn't feeding his children?
Well, it wasn't a money thing. I mean, it came out in court today that he had jobs with U-Haul and with Six Flags, and folks like Wanda were trying to help him. The only clue is in a police report where his aunt is quoted as saying that he was estranged from his own family due to drug abuse. So perhaps the answer lies somewhere in there.
This is Street Knowledge.
Well, not only is it tragic, it's an outrage. And clearly there were so many points in time when intervention could have happened, but unfortunately, it seems that the system failed Treasure.
There's so many points like that in the file that it was difficult to count them all.
Yeah.
There really was.
Yeah, I'm glad you're looking into this and trying to get some answers.
Thanks.
Johnny,
We'll
thanks.
stay on it.
Thanks.
For watching our digital media, and thank you for your support.